Hey guys, I'm your host Karandis, so welcome to this video guide of the Kunoichi. I played this class obviously pretty long, considering I'm level 60, and then I kind of actually just fell off the face of the earth, and then I went into life skilling mode. Got admitted into the hospital a few days ago, and that's why videos have been out so slow lately. But anyways, now that I'm back, today we'll be going over this class. I'm going to quickly go over the skills right now that I've taken into my Kuno here at level 60. Obviously level 60 is really long to get to. I don't expect all of you to get there, so I'm trying to put this in this perspective of your journey from 56 towards 60. The skills that I've taken along with me into post-awakening is target chase, ghost step. I've lost fatal stab because I just don't use it, and it's such a short range and it's hard to ever connect. Down floor sweeping, very used very often. You can fit in kunai throw somewhere in between from time to time. Very hard to do. You do this literally for the attack casting speed minus 15% on your enemies. Very hard to land, but still very useful. That's why I kept it. Shadow Slash, still use it a lot for the attack speed plus 5 buff there. Smoke Screen, the evasion plus 18% is huge. Concealment, you use this to kind of sneak up on people. Heart aiming, definitely for a poke stun, hits hard. Suicide Fall, this is definitely invincibility if you actually get to grab somebody for the duration of the animation. Ghost Greeting and Ankle Cutter used very often still. Foxclaw, don't use it that much. I always forget to, but I still keep it because it hits really hard, and I don't want to. I want to use it when it's not on cooldown and just for that one hit in before you switch to Awakening. Shadow Stomp, still very useful. The problem is that not very often I launch an opponent by tagging them with this, but it's on the occasion that it does. If I had Shadow Clone, I would still use it. I was explaining in the previous recording that Shadow Clone has this attack called Down Smash and Air Smash. A lot of people don't seem to know this. Some of you have reached out to me in PM as well and don't even ask for an explanation. What Down Smash and Air Smash is that if you hit an opponent on knockdown state or bound state with a Down Smash, they will launch again. And if you hit somebody in the air from floating with Air Smash, they will also juggle once in the air. That is the purpose of down smash and air smash. Don't confuse that with down attack and air attack. Those are completely different things. Down attack and air attack are just bonus damage modifiers towards enemies in a certain crowd control state. So I hope that helps you out. Enlightenment. There are certain skill add-ons that even give that extra CC effect. There's a reason why I take floor sweeping and use it over the kunai for a shadow stomp, is because floor sweeping gives you 10% down attack bonus, and a lot of your post awakenings have down attack, down attack, and down attack, and down attack. So that's 10% bonus damage for having floor sweeping, and if you use it on a knockdown opponent, it's also a down smash, so they also launch again. That's an inherent trait of the attack itself, which is why I use that more often than the kunai throw. But if you launch them far enough and you can't reach them, well, using the kunai throw might be useful just to tag them once for the debuff, and then you advance upon them with the lunar dash. Very hard to do. The class has a very high skill ceiling, if you ask me. Not something I would recommend. Like, the class is hard to play. It's hard to play. You're a squishy class. You're basically like a glass cannon. If you build her as a tank, you'll be hyper annoying because you've got massive sustain and lifesteal for the class itself. Tendon Cutter is another one I took with me because it's a really good net that you can catch somebody with. One thing that I explained in the previous Shortsword guide for the Kuno is that you should be able to rotate your camera around to maneuver it. You can maneuver your Tendon Cutter, so don't let it go in a triangle. If you can actually somehow position it to go behind somebody, then do it. And then you can also grapple them if you get closer from using Tendon Cutter. A very good Kuno would be able to rotate the camera around mid-animation of the attack to position themselves behind somebody or near them, so they can go in straight into a grapple right away. And you plant the person on the floor, then you down sweep, and they might get a down smash, and then afterwards you follow through with a shadow stomping, and then afterwards you might have launched past the person already. If you launch past the person, then you can use smoke screen and go concealment into behind them, poke them, launch into your CHAKRAM, spin and stun them again, throw a CC net, throw your discus, launch this CHAKRAM as well, and then, you know, by then they might be dead, hopefully, I don't know. It's a very long combo. Hard to demonstrate because either I get destroyed by my target or I destroy my target before the combo ends. Black Ninjutsu Blacklight, I try to use this because generally, because of server desync, combo rarely ever follows through all the way. That's another problem. Lag and desync is a very huge issue in terms of PvP combat right now. Hopefully the game does improve upon that over time. But if you do have, you know, if you have a good connection to the server or you don't experience a lot of desync, it's worth it to take what I've just mentioned and what I tried to show there. Blacklight, this is an interesting attack to catch somebody as well. It's another CC net, so if you haven't noticed, Kuno has a lot of massive AoE CCs. I wouldn't consider her like a high damage class. She's a high AP user, but you only become high damage when your gear is exceedingly like crazy. I would say like anywhere from the Tet Pen levels, which is not your average player. So that's kind of like a goal to strive for and work towards, I guess. I myself am at Pry and Duo, so you know, I downgraded most of my shit, and you know, feels prime, man. So yeah, those are the skills that I took from pre-awakening into post-awakening. Of course, all your passives. I also use the Ninjutsu Blacklight because I can awaken it with poison debuff, which is also useful. The dots in this game are very powerful if you stack all of them together. Crimson Eclipse, this is a 20 AP buff. When you get to 57, CHAKRAM Rise will give you 10 AP. I know it says DP there, it's actually AP, trust me. I'll show it to you in a bit. And if you use the Doppel Dummy block jump, that's another 12 AP, also stacks with the CHAKRAM Rise. If you awaken your spin to win with +10, that's another 10 AP, so you can get about 32 there in total, just by that alone. And then this Crimson Eclipse is 20 AP, so that's 52. And if you use your Rage 100% when you absorb it, that's another 30 AP. So you have a total of 82 AP in just AP gains. You might think like, holy shit, that's crazy. If I'm at 200 AP, that means I've got 282 AP effectively if I have all the buffs going. Correct, but at the same time, her damage ratios are really low. If you notice the spin to win, when you hit 56, it's only 572 times 12. With 25% crit. This is one of her best attacks, obviously. It's kind of hard to gauge it. Other classes have other things that burst a lot higher. And the other thing is, I don't know what her base accuracy is. It doesn't feel that high. See, like her Wheel of Wrath is something you would spam a lot at 56 as well. It's only 302 times 10 hits and 100% crit. But if you use it on cooldown, it's significantly chopped in like almost half. And it's also damage reduced in PvP, so it's like half of a half. So you're doing a quarter of what it's probably doing. I assume it's half because I just assume it's half because it doesn't state anything. I mean, I have no way of proving it or solidifying this claim. It's just, that's what it feels like. It's either 33% or half. The only way I drew conclusions about this was because on the Tamer, some of her skills says damage reduced by 50% in PvP. So I was like, okay, I'm like, if it's going to list it on this class, why the fuck is it not listed on any of the other class? So I'm going to assume it's 50% based on that consistency or inconsistency. So, freaking game. I hate how opaque everything is. Another attack, at 59 you get Flow Wrath. Basically take everything except for the Saspree of Sonin. Your basic attack has more usefulness than this actual attack here. Though I wish I never put this point in. I would reset it if I could and put it more into CHAKRAM. The basic attack, basically, if you do the vertical chop by just holding right mouse, there's no cooldown on this, and every slice that you do with this vertical chop has a CC effect. It's just like ridiculous. And then the horizontal chop gives you crit and attack speed buff, which you can also do Shadow Slash for a longer duration, which is 10 seconds. And critical is probably one of the stats you want to raise on this character because not everything's 100% crit. So crit is an important stat along with attack speed. Very difficult. class that needs to be geared very, very heavily in order to be effective. Some people were asking, well, what do you wear for gear, right? Well, obviously I showed you earlier, I've got all boss gear here, and they're like, where's the rings? I blew everything up, so congratulations to me. The gear that I wore was Rokaba and Gruno set at the time, but I actually just went full Rokaba because I didn't really need Gruno, because I could get Rokaba really easily. And the thing there was that Rokaba gave WP and HP at the same time. So those bonuses I found much better than 150 HP from the Gruno chest and shoe. Because in pre-awakening, your Fox Claw is one of your heavy heart hitting skills, and it leeches extra damage by 12% of your maximum WP, which is a lot. And you put more resonance crystals in there, and this thing just goes up even higher. The other part was that your grapple for PvP is based off of HP for an extra 5% as well, along with heart aiming. So taking the Rokaba set, it just helps all 3 attacks, whereas taking the Gruno, I lose the attack that hits more AoE for buff damage, and I get more for the suicide fall and heart aiming, but the percentage is only like a lot less. That's why I went with the resource. And pre-awakening, you will have a lot of WSP MP problems because the class just doesn't have any kind of self-sustain until she gets post-awakening. Once you get post-awakening, you kind of never need to bring potions with you anywhere except for like interrupted combat or forced PvP or whatever, or war. Other than that, if you're just grinding on your own, whatever, you really don't need potions. The lifesteal attack here just gives you everything. I awakened it with WP recovery. So you run into a crowd of enemies and you just spin at all of them. Your WP bar just goes all the way up. And then if you still need more, take Brace with you. Brace is instant, so it's not a problem. You can use it in post-awakening. So one of the things that you want to do is obviously learn to weapon switch. You should use both your weapons as a Kuno. I would not suggest getting into a habit of staying in one weapon. The amount of utility that the short sword has is immense compared to the CHAKRAM, and it's also a lot faster. The CHAKRAM I would say is like a medium speed, and then the short sword is like very fast. So you know, when you've gotten everything down, you should have about 14 icons here on cooldown. And yeah, that sounds a little nuts, but it is possible. I don't quite remember. It's generally let's see, it's like tendon cutter, and then like this, and then launch, and then this, and grab if you can. That was a bad switch, so wait for things to cool down. Let's see, it's like launch like that. Nope, that's still not it. I need a target, that's probably why. It's because I'm not hitting things and I don't remember what the hell I'm doing. It's hard to do it when you're just slashing the air. So, there you go, greeting, launch. No, it's okay, so, oh god, it's because I've been playing too much Tamer and started trying out the warrior. So let's see, tendon cutter, and it goes greeting, a launch, and then a slash, spin, and then a launch this. Yeah, so like that full cycle there, it's just, I should use this too. Move it, make it go faster. Yeah, so you should be able to get about 14 icons there on cooldown if you're good enough. I'm out of practice obviously right now, and you should be able to mess someone up pretty good. Generally, one of the things you want to start off with to initiate, if somebody's like, if you're having a lot of trouble and somebody's circling you around, obviously tendon cutters are a good way to catch them. Another is chain crash when you get it. The weird thing about chain crash is that it says it's not damage reduced in PvP, so I'm under the assumption that this thing hits full damage on PvP. Either that or they screwed up the tooltip again. I wouldn't put it beyond them, but you know, it doesn't say it, so I'll assume it does full damage. Unfortunately, there's no crit on it though, so that's why your crit stat is important. It will crazily boost some of these attacks, considering they all hit a massive number of times. One thing you should take into consideration is because everything hits so many times per attack, is that you should probably raise accuracy as well. Some of these all of these attacks say they have bonus accuracy, and I still feel it's not enough. How I came to this conclusion was when I was grinding to 56, I was using a Nuver dagger versus my Kudum Kunai, or a Kudum Kunai versus a Nuver Kunai. Where the hell is my Nuver? Hope I didn't throw it away. That would have been stupid. I have no idea where my Nuver Kunai went, so Totes Magloats. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so between these two, it's obviously, I've only had it at duo. I used to have them both at tri. It's about an 11 AP difference, except that the Kudum has a invisible accuracy bonus on it, and you get 17 DP instead for the sacrifice of 10 res with 11 AP at duo level. I didn't amount that AP loss to be very much, considering the hidden accuracy gain from the Kudum was much better. It was the difference between one-shotting mobs and two attacking mobs. One-shotting mobs with a Kudum Kunai and two-shotting mobs with a Nuver Kunai. They both had the same crystals, and they were both same enhanced level. My earrings and rings were the same. Those didn't change, and that's how I came to that conclusion. And after about, like, you know, freaking 100 or 200 hours of grinding, I decided I'm going to go with the Kudum because accuracy is a big problem. Even though this class has a lot of bonus accuracy on all the attacks, it's just that I think the base accuracy is kind of low. And if you think about it, if you make 12 hits on one attack, you don't want any of those hits to miss. Every hit that you miss is a lot of damage lost. So if it's max 12 hits and you spin at somebody and maybe only 6 of them tag them, you just lost like half your attack, which means you're not going to kill the person, and they'll most likely live and run back and kill you instead. Accuracy is a huge issue. The other thing is, if your attacks aren't even landing, your CC is going to miss as well. That's another problem. So definitely invest in some accuracy. You don't necessarily have to put it in the Kudum. I mean, go after a red coral earring and then, you know, have yourself a Nuver Kunai as well, and you can just fix it like that, or tree spirit belt kind of thing. That's kind of why I'm not so keen on the Basilisk belt for this class. Certain classes, it's like, yeah, just freaking rush AP all the way. Other classes should take into more consideration based on your experiences. Against just mobs, I use mobs as a great form of testing ground and also learning your combos. I never really rely on players, because players you'll rarely find somebody to spar with you that will test things and spend that time with you, which is really difficult to find people like that. I mean, I've got people in my guild that like to do that, but not everyone will. And sometimes I don't even want to. I just want to go relax and fish in the ocean kind of thing. You know, those are things that you should take into consideration. Again, this is a guide. It's not an absolute. I highly encourage you to always experiment and try things for yourself. Use this as a stepping stone just for some guidelines to, you know, put you in the right direction to find yourself the best possible playstyle and efficiency for the class itself. Combos. What do we got? We got Wheel of Wrath. Spam it with a halo. You'll be doing a lot of this early on until you reach level 60. With level 60, you get a knockdown strike, and then that. Another combo is always ghost step into a lunar dash. Otherwise, you might just end up doing this weird vertical chop instead. Before you do that, it's always ghost step, just to fix the input. The input's a little odd. That jump slash movement. You have the ghost step after slashing. If you don't ghost step after slashing, you'll stutter, which is problematic. So if you want it to smooth and glide like butter, you gotta do it right after slashing. If you want even more movement speed, do a double jump and then slash. And then blink. And you run faster. You can obviously hold shift. Oh, a new title, wow. And then after the blink, you fit a lunar dash in there somewhere and continue your sprint. This is the only way you can move really quick. The fastest way you can move, really. The more mediocre way is using target chase with a double jump, so you get a bit of a sprinting speed. This running through the desert like this will move as fast as a camel, really, when you have target chase going on with 5 move speed. I don't really use it that much. I still keep it though. It's great for just mobilizing because it doesn't consume stamina. Another combo is catch somebody in this net, throw the discus, launch this, and also fall through with a blink. And then also do the follow through with a dance macabre, and then finish off with a halo. And then if you're still going, you can spin. So you can make that even further. So after chain crash, lunatic discus, and then this, and then spin, and then halo. The spin is one of your strongest attacks. Don't waste it. Always try to land that. As well as the CHAKRAM chain crash that you learn at 58, I believe. One of your better skills. At 59 and 60, the attacks are kind of underwhelming because 59 you get an extra launch at the end of the spin, like this. It's actually kind of slow, but if you stun your enemy, you most likely will land it, and they might go flying if you have if the floating triggers. One thing you can connect that with is after spinning, you should always use a Wheel of Wrath straight into a halo, so it looks like an echo. It's like an echo of damage. If you use them both on cooldown, they will cause a forward guard. So trading hits with a Kuno that knows how to rotate their skills properly is also really detrimental to most attackers. One, because the spin to win is super armor, it causes stiffness and stun right after on the final hits, and it also recovers about 600 HP if you hit like a target all the way. So that is a really bad trade if you ask me. And then afterwards you'll most likely be stunned on your target if they run into it, and then you can either CC them with a launch from that, or a launch from the Wheel of Wrath, or a launch just from the extra attack after a spin. Either way, Lunar Dash is one of the hardest hitting attacks that you got, and then at 57 you learn CHAKRAM Rise, which hits even harder and grants you 10 AP on top of it. And if you're really good at messing somebody up, you would CHAKRAM Rise them, and then you can also dodge and go behind them as well. So, very difficult class. There's lots of things to do, and chaining it all together is a huge amount of effort. Definitely things get a little crazy when in the heat of combat, so it does require a lot of practice. I would say it's one of the harder classes to play. I'm always having an affinity towards difficult classes anyways, or unpopular classes. Kuno is definitely one of the more unpopular classes, sadly to say, but you know, it's the truth. Like I said, if you want to ever figure it out, just click on the Awakening weapon and click on this and you'll know how many I've sold. 12,800 for warriors, and CHAKRAM is only 6,000. Literally half the amount. So, you know, you can clearly tell even the Witch is like 13,000 more popular. And the Wizards is 10.8k and all sold out. So, you know, it's not hard to gauge what class is popular and what isn't. But I believe this class is very strong. It just requires a lot of gear, a hyper amount of gear. In the terms of that, if everybody was at a super high gear level, this class would actually be quite powerful compared to the other classes. Very hard to play again. Gotta utilize the block jump a lot if you want to survive in PvP combat. This is one of the biggest things that you can utilize to your advantage, block jump and also the invisibility. This is also a huge one, being able to go invis, and just teleporting. Alright, and that's this video, guys. I hope this helped you out. Do give it a like, and thanks so much for watching. Also, a great thank you to YouTuber and streamer friend Anchorisu for drawing my Kuno over here. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye for now. Plus 82 AP, you know, who needs AP anymore? Just whatever. Like I said in previous videos, Kuno's one of the highest AP users in the game. It's just the fact that her damage multipliers aren't very high to make up for that. Because I'm pretty sure if they were higher, she'd be a pretty broken class. Yeah, they all stack. Here's all the icons here. They all stack. If the icons are here, they stack. If they're not there, they don't stack. That's the fastest way to figure it out. Turn this on. Do that. Turn this on. Then do that. Chuck that out. Well, that's what you should be doing. You should have all these icons on cooldown when you have the class master. Okay, you should be able to use everything. Everything that I've just gone over. Alright, so I hope this helped you out. I hope it's helpful. If not, then damn, I'm so sorry. But then again, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye for now.